Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Traders Mind Chat live show. Today, we're going to be talking about working around the PDT rule. A lot of requests came in for this one. A lot of people have under $25,000, and that's where the PDT rule kicks in. If you are trying to day trade and you have less than $25,000 in your account, then it will flag you as a pattern day trader. And what it does is it restricts you to only make about 3 day trades in a week. That is uh, that's difficult if you are going to day trade. I can tell you some workarounds for it. We're going to discuss some of those workarounds here, but basically, there's 4 workarounds that we're going to be discussing today. The first is going to be using a cash account. Then we will talk about setting up multiple small accounts. We'll talk about other asset classes, and we'll talk about swing trading. So let's talk about using a cash account. And even before we jump into that, let me know that you are here in the live stream. I see people joining already. Let me know where you're from. Go ahead, type it into the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat throughout. So as you have questions, go ahead, type them in, and we'll answer them right here on the spot. But for right now, let's talk about using a cash account. So some brokers will allow you to day trade using a cash account. Some of the brokers that are great for this, and actually, why don't I switch over to my little board over here, and we'll talk about brokers brokers that are good. Whoops, that's a misspelled word there, but that are good for cash account day trading. Yes, my handwriting is pretty bad. So some brokers that are actually good for this. The one that I prefer to use is Thinkorswim. Think or Swim. And the reason why is because if you set up a cash account with Thinkorswim, they allow you to day trade, and they allow you to call into their customer service. They have a phone number where if you run into any kind of a problem, you could go ahead and call them. A lot of you out there with a small account start out with Robinhood, right? And so Robinhood, in my opinion, is not the best for day trading. And the reason why is because even if you do have a cash account, uh, it will still flag you, and it will still restrict your trading even with a cash account. The reason why I know this is because I tried. Where if you saw the video, and I probably should have planned better ahead and had that video ready to go, but if you watch the video, it's on my YouTube channel. I describe how I went about um, using Robinhood to day trade and have this ridiculous return. It was something like 1,200%. Just trying to look it up now. 1,200% day trading. Yeah, here it is.
When I think about building wealth and building wealth that lasts, it really
It
starts with
is
habit.
in this account. I kind of as just a real this video here. that way for a few years. And so I will share the link to this video over here in the comments, so that way you guys could go check that out later on. But it is possible to day trade uh, in Robinhood, but I had to also adhere to that PDT rule, and it tends to be kind of a nuisance to do. But let's talk about some other suggestions for day trading, well, with a small account and working around the PDT rule. So number one is going to be using a cash account, and using a cash account with a broker uh, that ideally has a phone number, customer service, that you could call them up at and verify that yes, you can use your cash account to day trade with. And well, what ends up happening, well, when you have a cash account, is like, let's say you're starting out with $10,000, right? You're under the PDT rule. Your first trade is, let's say you're using $1,000, right? So now uh, you only have 9,000 left to use on the day. The reason why is because it takes time to clear it. It'll take the broker a full 24-hour cycle to clear the account. So you'll be able to day trade with this amount that you have, that 10 grand, but you'll only be able to use up to that 10,000. You won't that's the challenge, or why people want to use margin for day trading. So keep that in mind when you are day trading. Next up, setting up multiple small accounts. Now, this is if you have a few different accounts and you're still under the PDT rule, what you can do is start to figure out how many day trades do you want to take in a day or in a week. Figure out both of them. So let's say that you want to take uh, 3 day trades, uh, 3 day trades per day. And you're going to be trading 5 days a week. So there's going to be 15 trades per week. So what you could do then is say that, all right, I'm going to have 3 day trades per day, and I want to day trade every day. Then what you could do is set up 5 accounts, right? 3 divided by 15 is going to be 5. So you set up 5 accounts with the amount that you have. Let's say that you're using that same $10,000 from before. What you would do then is put 2,000 into each of those 5 accounts. Then what you can do then is stay within the PDT rule in the first account. You hit it, then you move on to the next account. You hit that, then you move on to the next account, and you're good to go. And it'll just keep on cycling as the week goes on. Um, that is a clever workaround for the PDT rule. Next up, Next up is trading other asset classes. Now, if you're trading Forex, you don't have to deal with PDT rule. If you're trading crypto, you don't have to deal with the PDT rule. It's only when you're trading stocks. So if day trading is your thing and you want to day trade and you want to have margin on your account, um, looking at other asset classes other than stocks is an option for you. And lastly, you could always do swing trading instead. Um, what I generally do for most of my trades is swing trading. Um, I personally prefer swing trading is because I don't need to sit there and babysit a trade. In fact, well, like right now, for example, um, the market is pulling back. Let's take a look at the current market. Market's pulling back pretty hard. And I'm able to sit here with you guys on a live stream because my plans are already set. I don't need to sit here and uh, babysit a trade. So with day trading, uh, most day traders are trading based off of chart patterns, volatility, those kinds of things. So what you can do is apply the same types of concepts that you would use, the same technical analysis, just on a higher time frame, and that tends to work well. Let me see. Do we have any questions about anything coming in yet? No, not yet. All right. So I do want to take some time to open things up for open Q&A. Open Q&A. So that was quick. Quick workaround for the PDT rule. Wanted to give you guys a uh, quick workaround for it since it was asked in one of the questions from Instagram. So again, just to review, using a cash account, you could use a cash account to day trade. Go to, well, whichever broker. I would recommend a broker that has a good customer service, so that way you could verify, you could call them up. I would not use Robinhood to attempt to day trade on. I wouldn't recommend them. I did, and you could go back and look at that video that I shared in the chat. I use them. I adhered to the PDT rule, but if you're using a cash account, you should not be restricted to only 3 trades. You should be able to trade as many trades as you want, so long as you're trading within the amount of capital that you have. Next up was setting up multiple accounts. And when you were setting up multiple accounts, again, that's where, if let's say you have $10,000 and you wanted to day trade 3 times per week, then what you would do then is take uh, that 10,000, divide it by 5, and put and have 5 $2,000 accounts and trade in each of them, and then you're just trading each of those around um, that, and you wouldn't get hit by PDT. That's another workaround. And the point of it too is, if you wanted to add, this is if you want to add margin, right? So setting up multiple small accounts with margin, and then you're under the PDT rule, but you're kind of not, because you're using this one with margin, you're using the next one with margin, and so you're trading a much larger account. You'd probably get like 20 to 30,000 altogether with the margin. Um, but you'd have it with different brokers. Number 3 was other asset classes. Again, you're with other asset classes, crypto, forex, Basically, anything that is not stocks uh, does not fall under the PDT rule. And then you could always try swing trading instead. Swing trading is my personal preference. Again, the reason why is because uh, I'm able to sit on a live stream here with you guys, and I don't need to worry about, hey, what's my position doing? Um, Makes life a lot less stressful. So let's see. Looks like we've got a question from Francisco. Is it smart to use margin and cash account to swing trade even with the fees? So when I'm using margin on my account, I'm not using it for leverage on an individual trade. The way that I use margin is first, uh, and let me switch this over here. So what I would do when I'm using margin is if I'm making progress in my account and I want to add additional positions to my account, that's when I would end up going on margin. So in an environment like this, where the market is very choppy, getting closer to potentially starting a fresh downtrend here, maybe a deeper correction. It's not the type of environment where I would be using margin. When we're in a smooth uptrend, like what we were back here, December, November last year, up to February, that's when I was on margin pretty heavily. And it wasn't leveraging just one position, it was adding two positions and adding additional positions as things were working. So, hope that answers the question. Let's see. Well, what other questions do we have? That was a good one. What other questions do we have? Go ahead, type them in. I'll give you a moment to do so. Yeah, Francisco, you're welcome. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here. What other questions do we have? What other questions? We can look at some individual stocks too, if you want to do that. One of the things here, I'll share it with you guys. For our elite members, I publish a list in Discord, and it gets emailed out. Just different trade ideas that I have, and for really like most of the week, it's been pretty light. Like the potential B level trades that I saw, and I told everybody too. Like for today, my swing trading account is sitting in cash. Um, the reason why, like I saw three trades that were kind of sort of interesting last night, but not really. It was DFIN, Cash, and Sky, and there were flaws in here with all of them. And it's like, you know what? If the market is that thin and there's not that many setups, then I would rather just sit and wait. Another question from Francisco, keeping it on topic. Margin accounts do help when shorting over puts. Yes, that's true too. So if you want to outright short a stock, then you will need margin. Another workaround for that would be buying puts. Um, if you buy puts or if you deal with any kind of option, something that you want to be aware of is there liquidity in this option that you're going into? For example, let's say that you're looking at this stock here, Skyline Champion, and you find out that, oh, it's actually relatively thinly traded compared to some other names that you might be interested in. Chances are there's not going to be a great options market for it. You'll see it in both the volume on the individual option that you're looking at, and you'll also notice it in the bid and the ask spread. In something like this, if you see like a 50-cent spread, a dollar spread, that's a very, very wide spread for an option. Some names that I prefer to trade are more of your mega caps, like a Facebook. If I'm going to be buying puts or selling puts, I would do it in Facebook, like Facebook, Microsoft, those types. The reason why is because it's so large, you'll have no problem getting in or out of your option trade. Yeah, it's the worst you are when you're in an options trade, you're right on the trade, but liquidity dries up and you end up not making what you should have made on the trade. I That's a lesson that I've learned multiple times the hard way. Let's see, any other questions? Any other questions? What do you guys have? Talk about this for right now. Yeah, so not a whole lot here. Um, with Facebook, the idea that I had, and it looks like it came super close to triggering that alert. So I have an alert set at uh, 3:38. And the reason why is because I was considering selling puts on Facebook. Right. So the reason why I would want to sell puts on Facebook is because when the price starts to break a support level, what you'll tend to see is a massive increase in volatility. My idea is I want to sell that volatility, collect that premium, and to try to sell the options down here at around 320. Uh, the idea is that buyers will step in and support the stock. If it doesn't and it gets to the 200-day and I have to uh, buy that stock, if price gets put onto me, then it's at a logical spot where it will get support somewhere around here, and uh, I would I wouldn't mind owning Facebook at this level down here. That's the basic idea, the basic premise. All right. So, all that said, any other questions? Any other questions before we call it a day? Just give you another moment or two. I'm still learning StreamYard and the lives, and to see how quickly questions come in from when I'm speaking to when you're actually typing it in, and it's like coming through the internet. So, all right, it looks like that's it for questions. So I want to say thank you all so much for joining me on this live stream. This is the last one for the week. Uh, oh, I do have one more thing that I want to give you guys. Uh, I just shared it over here on Twitter. I'm pulling up my Twitter and getting uh, the notifications. It's right here. So if you guys click that link that I just shared in the chat, that will allow you to get email notifications for these live streams. We're going to be doing live streams 3 times per week. It'll be at different times, different topics. The live streams will include anything from special guests, um, like last week, we had Marty Chargin on the live stream. Coming up in a couple of weeks, we're going to have Jim Ropel joining us again. Uh, we'll have all different kinds of topics. Next week, I forget off the top of my head what we're talking about next week. Next week we're talking about backstops. So Wednesday, October 5th, we'll be talking about backstops and how to use backstops, how to apply them. So if you want to get notified by email about any of these live streams, click that link that I shared in the chat and put in your name and email address, and you'll get notified by email whenever we're doing one of these live streams. All right, that's it for today. I want to say thank you all so much for joining me on this live stream. It's been great, and I'll see you again next week. Take care. Much love. Peace out.